Hello YouTube, welcome back. This is part 13 of recreating the Sutton Hoo cooking chain. So there wasn't a video last week because I had to make the missing leg and 2 lengths of chain, as well as a few rings, as you can see here. So these parts are all made up now. Also, I took the composite element and got rid of those pathetic little scrolls, which I didn't like, and scarf welded on new ones which were closer to the original drawing, as you can see here. So the parts which we're going to make are these series of iron reef knots, which are created from 300mm of 8mm round material. So this is basic chain making. So use your Pritchell hole to create almost like a U-bolt, basically bending it in half. So you can do this as fast or as slow as you like. I'm taking my time on this one for demonstration purposes. So getting a nice even round on the bottom end, and then you will heat up the open end and scarf it around the corner of your anvil like so. Now if you want more detail on this, go and watch my chain making video, it's exactly the same process. And then we will use the bick to just close up this loop, and we're aiming for an intersection of about 45 degrees on these scarves. So you can open and close that so that it fits quite nicely together like so. So when that's done, take a nice welding heat, bang it together, and then just go over to the bick, and with the dying heat of your weld you can close this up. Now I've been using the chain making tool for this so far. I figured I'd use the bick because a lot of you guys won't actually have a chain maker's stump. So just go like that. So with it all welded up, I will dress the shape a little bit, make sure all these lines are straight. It doesn't have to be perfect. You want it to look machine made. And there we go. So you can see that scarf weld has gone in quite nicely. So with that welded up and formed, we will take the welded end and we will bend it over like so. You want to do it on the welded end because the other end we are going to close up. And you don't really want to be closing the welded end in case you pop your weld open. We'll just use the strongest part of the material to take the most stress. So you end up with a shape like that. So when you have a second one, you can thread these together. It can be a little bit of a faff, especially if one is hot and the other is not. Basically, push them together, swear a bit, tighten them up or open them up a little, and eventually they will slide together like so. So when they're together, what you shall then do is close up the large loops. Just on the flat of the anvil, you just want to tap them a bit more tighter, and that will allow you to recover some material, make your loops a bit long. You can also use the point of the bick to support the one that you're tightening up, like so. And you will see that they are then capable of closing up a little. So at that stage, the closed loop, you can put a drift through there, because we only actually closed it so that it would pass through the bigger loop. So I'll just put a series of drifts through there, culminating in a 20mm drift. And I'll just bring it up to the size that we are after. So at that stage, bend over that end, and then close it up a little bit as well so that it matches. And then you can use the bick of your anvil to open it up a little bit more. To do that, just hammer on the part that the workpiece isn't contacting on the bick, and that will quickly create a bigger loop for you. So as you can see, it's a bit of a bugger to hold the work because they are a little bit loose. So the third link has to be a slightly different shape. It has to be more pear-shaped, and that's because it has to pass over the previous reef knot. So again, this can be a little bit of a faff to get in, and then you'll miss the loop completely, feel like a fool, pass it through again. And finally, get it somewhere near. So as you can see, it won't now come any closer than that, so we need to start closing this up in order to finish threading it through. So to do that, literally just hammer down on the loop. And you can see here again that I've used the scarfed end as the bigger loop because it puts it under less pressure. I mean, I do trust my welds, but let's not tempt fate. You don't want to blow the devil a kiss in case he kisses you back. So at that stage, for the first link, I will then take the top loop and I will twist it 90 degrees. If you've had a bit of a peep at the drawing, you'll see that both of these flat knot chains, reef knot chains rather, are different from left to right. So the first one we will drift out, and then we will fold it over. And this is pretty much the same process as the figure of 8 pieces which we did in a previous episode, which may very well have been the last episode, I can't quite remember. So we're just going to bend this down like so, make sure it's still at 90 degrees from the reef knots, and then using a pair of rods we will just flip this inside out. And it's a bit tight, it's a bit of a struggle. This would be a lot easier with a gas torch. But the best way to even these out, I found, was to wang a drift through there, like so, and magically it closes them up and evens them out. So at that stage I will head back to the vise, clamp the reef knots down and make sure that the loop is back where it should be. So at the bottom part, which is hooked onto the chain itself, which is hooked onto the chain attached to the hook at the bottom, I will just close that up completely and I will draw it out ever so slightly, and then I will form a loop on the end of that. And then I will fit it onto the chain and just close it up. So I'm not closing it up fully because what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this the other way around and I will just bend that down so that the reef knots are central to the chain beneath it, and just doing that will actually finish closing up that loop at the bottom for me. So the last thing I will do for this length is I will get a heat across the whole length of it and I will just spin it round, because what I've found is that doing so loosens up the chain for you. So that nice chain at the bottom part there, that was quite seized up until I did this. So there we go, there is the first one. So we have here 2 reef knots and a loop at the end, and basically you want to do exactly the same process for the second hook. but without the loop on top. So basically, same process, just minus the turning around movement. So at that stage, I manufactured 2 rings out of round stock, which I think was around 10mm round, so just under 1/2 inch, and hanging the main body of the chain itself from a convenient nail above the forge, I was then able to use these rings to attach the feet. So you've seen me making these rings in a previous video, I demonstrated that specifically. These ones I've used a little crappy anvil I've had for years to just hold that by the fire and weld up these rings. And this weld is the final bit of forge work. So here is the chain fully assembled. It's been 3 months of hard work and we have 1 video to go yet. So for the time being, feast your eyes on this, because I am reasonably proud of it, even if there are things that I don't like, but we shan't talk about those. So next episode we shall talk about cleaning it and putting a finish on it, and I will do some proper photography so that you can finally get a nice detailed look of this wonderful, beautiful piece of Anglo-Saxon design. So thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, please leave a like or subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy these videos extra much, please consider donating on Patreon. Every penny raised on Patreon helps to make these videos so that I can bring you bigger and better projects than you would otherwise find on YouTube. So thanks a lot, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot to all my donors on Patreon who are currently scrolling by. And I will see you all on the next one next week.